Yo, what it do, YouTube? I think today it's gonna be a short, quick little yap freestyle video. I hope everybody doing well, taking good care of themselves, you know what I'm saying? Not staying attached to no dang, I just cursed. I gotta remember I'm on YouTube, so I can't be super vulgar for at least 2 minutes. But yeah, today, bro, I guess we can talk about crystals. I'm not gonna say too much about like what each one does and stuff like that. I'ma just talk about like the power of a crystal and why it has that power. You know what I'm saying? It's actually very simple, bro. It's not really that complicated. Oh yeah, ignore my hair, bro. I got a bunch of new growth, and these are baby locks right here. So watch out, niggas in the comments that be hating. You know what I'm saying? I really don't be caring about what people think about me for real. That's why I'm willing to get on camera looking like this, but it do look crazy. But like y'all should have seen my hair when I first started growing it. Basically had like a fro that was just all hair like this, just knotted up like this. I did the little rag method, you know what I'm saying? And just let that shit grow. So but yeah, when it come to crystals, man, it's very simple, man. It's very simple. There's a lot of people that hate on people who talk about crystals, and I understand why, because you know some of these people, they make it look very what's the word, like worshipy, you know what I'm saying? Like, and when it's like that, it's just automatically cringe, you know what I'm saying? But there's a whole lot of science to it, man. You know what I mean? And the things that those people say are actually true. You know what I'm saying? It's just like people don't want to listen because of how they present themselves. Is like super cringe. But you know, it's simple, bro. Shapes are vehicles. Vehicles for energy. You know what I'm saying? Everything in life is just energy spiraling. You know what I'm saying? That's really all everything that you see is. It ain't nothing but an amalgamation of energy. So when they come to crystals have these crystalline shapes, you know what I mean, that are like structured on top of each other and layered. So like I said, shapes are vehicles, and these vehicles give energy a certain type of trajectory. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, everything is energy. When you speak, think, all of this requires energy to do, bro. You know what I'm saying? Light is a form of energy. Information is a form of energy. So when they come to crystals, they are a self-contained shape that's structured enough to where when light forms, or light like sunlight gets trapped inside of it, it bounces off the walls and that generates a resonance. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that goes in the form of you speaking to it, or just it having light in general. That's why people say put your crystals outside in the sun so they can charge up. It's facts. You know what I'm saying? Because that sunlight is getting trapped in the crystals and bouncing off the internal structure and vibrating. Literally, it's vibrating. It's very, very simple, bro. That's just like really very simple to know. But you know, you put crystals out in the sun, charge them up, bury them in the ground, charges it up, because you know, Earth has its own electromagnetic, you know, spectrum, and anything that's touching the Earth is absorbing that. You know what I mean? It's coming in contact with that energy. So when it comes to crystals, they absorb everything. There's all types of crystals. One of the main ones that people use is for protection. Stuff like shungite, black obsidian. You know what I mean? The black crystals, they do that because, you know, it's just like skin. People with darker skin, they absorb more sunlight. So it's the same thing with the crystal. Or it's just in general for the color black. It absorbs more sunlight. So thus it absorbs energy. So that's why you have to cleanse the crystals, because it's constantly absorbing. Some absorb and some absorb the energy and push it back out. It repurposes it, you know, changes the energy and pushes it back out. Like, and it's all because of the shape. It's all because of the internal structure of the crystal. You know what I mean? Light gets trapped inside, bounces off all that internal structure. You know what I mean? It's a very very defined shape with a very specific pattern, and whatever gets trapped in there, whatever light form gets trapped in there, it bounces off and creates resonance. It's just like, it's, you know what I mean? If you just imagine this in your mind, like, you get to see how you get to understand how dope that is, bro. But you know, that's pretty much crystals, bro. You know what I mean? If y'all ever seen, I forgot which Superman movie that was, but you know, like Superman, he had like this little device, this like computer made of crystals and stuff. You know what I mean? Because just like water, crystals hold memory. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it captures light. Light is information. So a crystal can hold information just like a encryption key. Like, it can hold lots of information. Loads of information. Like eons of information. That's why Superman, it was like his computer. And like, when you think about that, like, majority of the technology we use, the TVs, anything with a display, you know what I mean? Some of the first TVs were made with just a crystal in the back of it, with light, with like a light beam, like shooting, like, you know, it's just like, if you don't know the science about crystals, it's just stupid, bro. You know what I mean? Because we use it in our everyday technology. What people miss is, like, you don't have to shape the crystal. You don't have to, like, what do they call it when you, like, shave the crystal down into a specific shape. You don't have to do that for it to have the innate power it has just from how it is manifested out of the ground. You know what I mean? I in the future want to make like jewelry, because I know how to put these crystals together. You know what I mean? To create accessories that enhance your electromagnetic field. So you know what I'm saying? There's a whole lot of science behind crystals, bro. You know what I mean? And the fanatics, the people that are big on them, it's valid. It's just the way they come off is a little cringe. You know what I'm saying? That's all. Another thing I wanted to talk about is like one thing that like really sold me on the crystals. I have a habit of finding some like some of the most rare stuff. Like I find stuff before, it's like mainstream. So I be ahead of the game a lot of times. You feel me? So, back when I was living in Florida, another reason why I want to talk about this, because aliens and stuff like that starting to be talked about more. So this is one of my little stories about interacting with these motherfucking extraterrestrials. But when I was in Florida, I seen a whole lot of like extraterrestrial type of things going on there. Because like where I lived at, there were hardly any street lights, even though I was in the city. Like I was in the city, but specifically my neighborhood didn't have too many street lights. So, I would go out every night and stargaze. And this was right around the time when I was getting real big into mushrooms, and I had my little spiritual awakening and all of that stuff like that. So I was learning a lot of stuff about life that inspired me, that really inspired me, because like the things that I found joy in as a kid and that I was into as a kid, I had that realization that all that stuff was real. So like, I had a newfound joy for life. And like, I was just noticing all these beautiful aspects about life. And I started getting big into the crystals and stuff like that again. And, I have a knack of finding these rare things. And one of the crystals I found was Moldavite. Now, Moldavite is I think it's a tektite. So it's a form of meteorite. Moldavite comes from, I can't remember exactly where in Russia, but it comes from a specific area in Russia where an asteroid or a meteor had hit. Moldavite is actually pretty popular nowadays, surprisingly enough. I haven't looked at the price of it, but I'm pretty sure it got more expensive. But when I first got the Moldavite, I looked up information about it, and people always said that like if it was real, you would notice instantly a change, like a shift in energy once you hold the crystal, and before the crystal even gets to you. Like you would notice these subtle changes like around you. You know what I mean? So like even the information surrounding it is like supercharged. The only way I can describe it is the same way as when I had one of my first spiritual awakenings, was like way back in like was it fresh out of high school? I think it was like 2012 or something like that. Or 2013. And like I listened to one of those binaural beat videos on YouTube about opening your third eye. And like, I remember when I listened to that, like, I distinctly remember I had a moment of like, it's kind of like when you like turn the television on and like it just goes from being like kind of dark to like bright. Like my whole awareness expanded when I like listened to that beat. And the similar things happen with Moldavite. It's like my awareness was heightened. Like if you ever took mushrooms or something like that, it makes your like vision like HD crystal clear, like 10K visuals, you know what I'm saying? So like everything just looks pristine and clear. Like when I listened to that binaural beat, and when I was looking up information about Moldavite, and when I received it in hand, it had that same effect, but times like a billy. So, you know, I distinctly noticed a shift, a change. So another crazy thing that happened was, you know, like I said, I was in Florida, stargazing and stuff like that. So, you know, I would look up in the night sky every day. I mean, every night. Because I had a real consistent routine of doing that. And, you know, when I would do that, I would see all type of stuff in the sky, moving up in the sky. You know, a lot of people would say it'd be satellites and stuff like that, but it ain't look like no satellites, bro. I actually got a recording of one day when I seen something bouncing off the firmament. And what I seen, like, there's other videos all across the globe of people seeing this, but yeah, I gotta find that video. Hopefully I can put it in the video. But I was stargazing. Oh yeah, I remember what I was doing. I was doing some qigong. So like I would specifically go outside, do some qigong before bed. And as I'm doing the movements, I look up in the sky and like, remember, Moldavite is a meteorite. It's green. It's a green crystal. I wish I had it with me. I could show y'all, but I might have to clip it in later. So I'm doing the movements, breathing and stuff. I raise my head up, look up in the sky, and like I'm just looking at all the stars and stuff, and huge flash of green through the sky, like just like I didn't see shooting stars, but this wasn't no shooting star, bro. It looked like a whole meteor just flashed through the sky. Huge green flash, bro. You know what I'm saying? I was so shocked at what I seen. I thought like the next day I was gonna hear it on the news or something about something hitting the earth or something, because it was that fucking big. It was huge, bro. You know what I mean? And you know, I know now that, like, you know, that was just confirmation that you know, the Moldavite was real, like super real, like super confirmation, bro. A fucking meteor came out in the fucking sky, like huge, like I can't describe the size, but like you would think it would be like close enough to like a blimp will be in the sky, like not too far off the ground, like big enough that you could see it, and it was like huge. That's how big it was, bro. It was fucking huge. And it was all green. It flashed green, and it just streaked across the sky. I literally thought that on the news that they was gonna be talking about it, but wasn't nothing said about it, bro. Wasn't nothing said on the news about it. So I was just like, wow, that was just for my eyes to see. That was crazy, bro. You know what I'm saying? So like ever since that experience, like I was super fascinated with crystals. Like when it come to tektites and meteorites, fragments, there's all types of different ones, and I done collected a whole bunch of them, man. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's my little story, bro, about how I seen how I got inspired, you know, by the crystal game. You know what I mean? Finding that Moldavite, bro. You know what I mean? So, as promised, I said I would show y'all my Moldavite. Now, mind you, Moldavite, very powerful piece of mineral meteorite. You know what I'm saying? The piece I have is very small. I used to have a bigger piece, but these things, these tektites, they have a habit of coming up missing. You know what I'm saying? People say it's because once they feel like they no longer need to be in your life, they just, you know, happen to just disappear. So I don't know, but I have lost some before. So here it is. See the green color? When I seen that meteorite, bro, whole sky flashed green for a quick little sec. There's a huge meteor. No bullshit. So I want to show. I want to show like you know what I'm saying. Let's see. Focus. I don't want to focus, man. There we go. Oh yeah. Got a little bit more, bro. Got some more. Got this one. This a good one. This is Centimani stone, bro. I think it's also called agony something agony. I can't remember exactly what it was called, but this one is this is stone for abundance and luck. So abundance, luck, prosperity, this the one. You know what I'm saying? This is also very rare. So alright, so this one is Libyan glass. This comes from the desert. When a meteor hits the desert, it vaporizes the sand and creates this. So way too much going on. But Libyan glass, can't remember what this is good for, but this is just another mineral rock made from the impact of a meteor. You know? I got one more, but I don't really remember what this one is called. I got this one from a gem and mineral show. So, you know, maybe someone I know which one this is. Let me see if it. Yeah, it's too thick for the sun to shine through it, but this is what they look like. you ever see them, it's not hard to tell that, oh yeah, this is a piece of meteorite, or it's actually formed from the impact of the meteor. When it hits the ground, it vaporizes the ground, and some of the meteor and the elements that was in the ground like fuse together because it's all vaporized, so it like melts together and it's instantly like, you know, cooled, and it creates these rocks. So tektites, look it up, man. And if people are not aware, like when you get this meteorite, you know, it does certain things for your life, you know what I mean? Like I said, when I received it, I felt like a shift. Like it felt like my electromagnetic field, like my aura got raised, like and heightened. Like that's literally what it felt like, bro. And you know, they say that it can cause major shifts in your life, like in a rapid pace and in a chaotic way. So, you know, you might go through certain events, certain things might happen in your life that would be like kind of super very sudden, you know what I mean? And that's what people say that the crystal does for you. And I can definitely say it did that for my life, because, you know, around that time when I had my spiritual awakening, like I started gravitating away from certain friend groups. Like, you know, my whole way of living, my lifestyle started to change. Like the things I attached myself to, like, you know, everything shifted, you know what I mean? And in a way it felt like my life was falling apart, but I was just going through that spiritual awakening and going through a major shift, you know what I mean? Especially interacting with these meteorites and crystals, it just sped it up, you know what I'm saying? I think another good thing for me to mention right now is like the crystal skulls, man. Oh, if you ain't never heard about crystal skulls, you know what I mean, just look it up, bro. There's an Indiana Jones movie about the crystal skull. It just goes back to like how like crystals hold memory. So around the earth, there are like certain crystal skulls that were created by extraterrestrials, and they are hidden around the earth. And a lot of the times, the way people find these crystal skulls, of course nowadays people make them, but a lot of the real special crystal skulls are hidden by extraterrestrials, and they can only be found by certain individuals who can intuitively pick up on the signature of the skull and go and actually find it. It's kind of like the skull like communicates with them telepathically, and they find the skull. When you look this stuff up, that's what you're gonna find. You're gonna find certain people and certain individuals who have found these skulls because they had intuitively got the guidance to go get it. So, you know, when these people find these crystal skulls, they hold the skulls and it speaks to them. They can actually look at the skull and like kind of like a crystal ball. They can look at the skull and see like visions of the extraterrestrials that was interacting with the skull and stuff like that. Yeah, the crystal skulls, bro, like it's a pure example of how crystals hold memory. You know what I mean? There you can go. One of my favorite shows ever was Steven Universe, bro. that show will put you on game about crystals for sure. It's all about crystals, you feel me? But you know, um crystals, just like mushrooms, the mushroom mycelium network, if you have a crystal, you know what I mean, that came from a certain area, like it's like it's like energetically tethered to that cluster it came from, you feel me? So like, you know, just like a mushroom, um whatever wherever that mushroom came from, it's connected through a network, underground network of mycelium, which is the mushrooms. It's like the colony of mushrooms, underground nexus colony of mushrooms. So like, when you interacting with a crystal, this is basically the purpose of doing that. You know what I'm saying? You're like manipulating energies. Like you are harnessing and directing it with the assistance of the crystal. And you know, the crystals have a consciousness, man. You know what I mean? When you think about like ghosts and stuff like that, and demons and stuff, these things are manifested from like people's emotions or ideas, like things that they didn't gave so much energy to, it actually became something. You know what I mean? And like, it's the same thing with like crystals and stuff. Like all these things, like it has a consciousness, bro. You feel me? So, you know, that's crystals, bro. My small experience with Moldavite, and what inspired my whole little infatuation with crystals. You know what I mean? And also inspired my my journey in understanding how these crystals work together. So you can use these things as like accessories that like enhance your well-being and your whole auric field and magnetic field. One way you can tell if a crystal is like properly cleansed and charged up is to do muscle tests. You feel me? So like, when you enhance your electromagnetic field, things that require energy for you to do, it becomes easier to do. So like, when you trying to lift like something heavy, like, and you're holding a crystal, a charged crystal, like a very strong crystal, and you lift something heavy, it'll become lighter. You know what I mean? Now, for a lot of people, they not really gonna notice the subtle differences in these things. But like I said, when you make these accessories, there's a individual by the name of Hank Rising Sun. If you never heard of Hank, brother Hank, he actually makes these type of accessories that enhance your electromagnetic field. And I think he stays in Harlem, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, the brother Hank, he also inspired me to get into this stuff. You know what I mean? But he is like, He like the only person I know that knows how to do this stuff, how to make these devices. And I also want to get into it, but I just don't have the resources or the connections to get it popping. So it's a future idea. You know what I mean? For anybody out there who, you know, want to get that on and rocking, like, you know what I mean? Just hit me up, you feel me? In the comments, you know what I mean? I'll shoot you my email or something like that. But yeah, like if you want to test out a crystal and make sure it's like, test out and see how strong it is, do a muscle test. Grab a weight, lift the weight up without holding the crystal, put it down. See, get a feel how heavy it is, and then pick the crystal up and do it again. And you'll noticeably feel the difference, bro. I shit you not. Swear to God. It's the best way to test this stuff, bro. You know what I'm saying? Very simple way to test it too. You know what I mean? But, you know, there's a lot of people, bro, who just, it's just certain people, bro. It's just like people who are very big in the certain fields of science, and like they like to debunk stuff. You know what I mean? They like to shoot stuff down just so they can feel like they was right. But like, you know, they like get off by, you know, making somebody feel stupid. You know what I mean? But in retrospect, you just being an asshole, bro. You know what I'm saying? And you actually distracting people from actually realizing the truth about things. It's just stupid. You actually look stupid. You the one that looks stupid because you try to make somebody else look stupid. It's so stupid. It's silly, bro. You know? Yeah, I just had to talk about crystals, bro, real quick. You feel me? I might split this up into multiple videos, because I'm pretty sure I can do that. But yeah, bro, that's crystals. You know what I mean? I hope everybody, you know, pursuing their passions. I hope you fulfill your dreams and aspirations, and that the universe and God blesses you beyond favor. That's it for now. I'll see y'all later, man.